Hi, and welcome to Module 2 of the Catholic Conjure course, Saints and Their Powers, the Magical Typology of the Catholic Pantheon. This module explores the fascinating world of Catholic saints and their spiritual powers and their roles within the magical topology of the Catholic pantheon. We're going to talk a little bit about the historical development and classifications of folk traditions and relevant sources to allow us to better understand the context of and origins of Catholic conjure. So we're going to cover the historical development of saint veneration, the typology of saints and their spiritual influence and their roles in folk magic and healing. We're going to talk a little bit about key sources documenting their powers and conclude with a homework assignment that's, of course, that's optional, but that is designed to help deepen your understanding and help you find ways of working with some of these saints. Saint veneration has evolved over the centuries from the earliest Christian and pre-Christian practices, pre-institutional church, to an established spiritual pantheon. This section outlines key moments in that historical transformation to help us better understand where some of these traditions came from. Early Christians began venerating martyrs who exemplified their faith through sacrifice, and this laid the foundation for the cult of saints as spiritual intercessors and spiritual allies for some of the folks in the early church. Over time, the focus expanded beyond martyrs and included other holy figures, creating a complex pantheon with varied spiritual roles and varied spiritual powers that were attributed to these other holy figures. Saintly cults began to grow wildly within the church, formalizing recognition and creating processes like canonization, integrating saints into religious and social life. And there were times when these were inconvenient to the institutional church, times when it was inconvenient for some of the local traditions to be taking such a hold. And so that drove some of these practices, some of these cults of the saints underground. Saints are classified by their roles and powers. They reflect the unique spiritual domains of each particular saint. And this typology helps us understand how they're invoked and how they're revered, and in what ways we work with them as spiritual allies. Saints can be categorized as martyrs who sacrifice their lives, healers known for miracles, or patrons representing different professions or different places and causes. It's one of those sort of topologies that allows us to work with the saints that are affiliated with or associated with our particular need. So each saint has these specific powers or protective qualities. They have their different way of showing up as allies, influencing prayers and rituals that are aimed at some of the different needs and challenges that the devotees face in their daily lives. So we begin to see, saints having a domain of power and protection, and prayer rituals begin to be directed to invoke those protective qualities or miraculous healing properties in the workings that we're doing. Devotees invoke saints on their histories, on their attributed miracles, creating a sort of a magical resume that guides spiritual petitions and magical workings. And so this is a process that not only takes place in institutional church, but took place long before there was an institution. And so many of these stories are older than the institutional church themselves. And these saints many times hold significant roles beyond formal religion, playing key parts in folk magic and healing practices and occult traditions. And so let's dive into that and talk about that a little bit further. Saint Expedite is a popularly invoked saint for urgent needs and swift miracles, embodying a figure deeply embedded in magical and folkloric practice. And so that's one of those, excuse me, one of those saints whose cult began long before the institutional church. Known for her mysticism, St. Teresa of Avila's spiritual intercessions are central to many healing rituals and mystical traditions. She's invoked as a spiritual ally for those who are going deeper into the mystery traditions and those who want to have an impact of healing on the world around them. Saint Cyprian and Sixto are associated with occult knowledge and healing powers, often featured in magical grimoires and folk beliefs. San Sisto, for example, is invoked in the Maloicchio removal, the evil eye removal in the Afro-Sicilian and Southern Italian tradition. And so the occult knowledge association of people like Cyprian and Sisto are linked to occult knowledge in various traditions. And these saints often are said to have healing powers described in grimoires and folk magic beliefs and in stories of actual healings that became part of the institutional church's canonization process. Historical texts, devotional literature, and folk magic sources preserve rich accounts of saints' miraculous and magical roles. And so it's one of those things that we just have no way of denying as having existed. Church records and hagiographies and prayers document saintly miracles and spiritual interventions recognized by religious authorities and folk magic practitioners alike. So these are allies that work with us in many times across those boundaries between institutional beliefs and local beliefs, folk beliefs, and traditions. Many magical practices involving saints are preserved in grimoires and oral traditions, reflecting popular beliefs and ritual methods. Those who've read some of my books might be familiar with some of these. Judica Isles also has a terrific book that explains some of these magical practices with the saints. And so we see saints and rituals are often invoked as allies or intermediaries during rituals across various cultures. The testimonials and accounts of their intercession, their working with us, that inspires faith and devotion and causes more magical traditions, more of these folk practices to be created, incorporating the saints and reflecting cultural blending of faith and mystical beliefs from those original cultures, as we see in the mestizo, population, we see in the Roma population, and in Afro-Sicilian and Southern Italian folk magic in parts of Europe like the Gaelic and some of the Celtic traditions as well. So, your homework, should you choose to do that this week, is to pick a saint for research and explore their history, look at their spiritual powers and devotional practices. Like I said, you could do that in my book or in Judica Isles' book, or I'm certain on the internet. And then, create a report that you might want to discuss with a class in the discussion section of this course, or something that you just might want to keep in your personal journal. Now, I'd recommend choosing a saint with a notable spiritual or magical significance, considering their domains of influence and cultural background. But if you feel led to choose another saint and do some research into ways that they've been used as allies in magical practice, then by all means follow that intuition first. And investigate that saint's biography. Look at their miracles and see maybe what type of symbolic powers they have, how they're venerated or invoked in ritual contexts, and then dig deeper. And looking at the types of miracles or the symbolic powers that they have of protection or what have you, start to consider ways in which you might work with them in your esoteric practice as spiritual allies. And this is from my other class when it was actually being done in a classroom. But if you wish, create a report that summarizes your research, emphasizes the saint's magical legacy and a role within the pantheon, and then just paste a short summary of that in the discussion section for this particular classroom. And I think it could make for a good discussion. And we'll talk about it when we have our live session at the end of this month. So understanding the magical typology of saints enriches our appreciation for their spiritual influence and their cultural significance, bridging religious devotion and folk magic practices and esoteric alliances with these spirits. Because one thing that's important to remember is that we refer to them as saints, we can refer to them as spiritual allies. These are spirits nonetheless. All spirits in every spiritual tradition, every religious tradition are the same thing. They are spiritual allies that can work with us. We just have to ask them and ask them to show us who they are and what they're about for that to take place. I hope this has been a helpful, if not a little bit nerdy and dry, module. I promise that we'll pick up the pace as things move on in our next module. But it was important for us to sort of have this foundation and understanding of the ways that folk magic traditions adopt some of these saints, and sometimes how the institutional church adopts some of these saints from folk magic traditions, as we see with Saint Bridget, as we've seen with other saints that got Saint Christopher, people that never existed, but whose mythology existed in other traditions and were brought into the institutional church. So I look forward to seeing you on Module 3. Thanks for tuning in. And sorry that I try to keep these at 10 minutes. I think we probably went a little bit over.